Welcome to Candice Wears Many Hats. This is a YouTube channel dedicated to people who, like me, wear so many hats and good hats in terms of the things and activities that they get involved in. So, if you're like me and there are many activities you get involved in, and not just poorly, but very well, then come join me. This is what I've got to say. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, I'm Candice. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I started this YouTube channel because I've been doing a lot of webinars as part of my professional career. And I just thought I need a place to explore this more creatively. I want a place where I can talk about things I'm interested in that aren't just professional, that also relate to what I do as a person, so the hobbies that I get into, the things I'm learning in life. And so this is what this channel is about. I recently did a series as part of business continuity about recruitment, which I thought was really interesting. But I wanted to take those questions a bit further, and it wasn't the kind of platform to do so under the institute that I was working with. So this is going to be the place where I can talk more in depth about my personal opinions. So nothing related to the job that I do or the groups that I represent, but more related to my opinions about what goes on in the world of resilience. But also, I want to break into more niche areas. So, things that people feel a bit taboo to talk about when it comes to related to work. So, one of the areas I'm really interested in is learning more about faith groups and how they see resilience and opportunity management, and really looking to ask more difficult questions. Very much the same with industries that a lot of women don't care about, don't want to get into, and asking questions like what trends are we seeing. This won't all be about Candice's professional career and professional topics. I'm into lots of stuff. My husband's a big Warhammer fiend. I like to refer to it so. I'm a big Pokemon fan. And there's loads of stuff that I like to do in my hobbies that I think I want to talk about and I want to explore. So that's what this channel is going to be about. I'll talk a little bit about me. And then I hope you want to continue watching some of my videos. Thanks. So I'm going to introduce myself properly. As I said, I'm Candice. I'm 30, married with a small child. I'm a girl mum, so that's brought me loads of joy. I live in the UK, in Berkshire, and I work in central London, so I hate the commute, but I have to do it anyway. I've lived across the whole country, so I've went to university in Derby, um, grew up in London, lived in Milton Keynes, lived in Exeter, so I consider myself a little bit of a career nomad, hopefully a bit of more settled period coming in the future. I have a master's degree in disaster management. It's really odd, but it's something I was really passionate about when I was younger and still passionate about today. I work in something called business continuity. It's basically making other people think about other ways to get their jobs done. It's kind of something you talk about in terms of incident management, crisis management, but the crux of it all is making people think about what could happen that affects the way I do my work. So it's really niche, but it's great for people with anxiety, and it's probably been driven from me having anxiety. It's a career I was always really keen about and passionate about as a young child. And even though it was something that wasn't really popularized and I didn't know a lot about, I knew I wanted to work in something where I could use maybe something I see as a weakness, like having anxiety, but in a positive way. So, what am I about? I read a book by Gary John Bishop called, excuse my French, Unfuck Yourself. And it was basically saying that the best way to resolve your internal conflicts, internal issues, internal deficiencies is by improving your external world, which I thought was really interesting. It's something that maybe has come up for other people who've had CBT, so cognitive behavioral therapy, where you can get so caught up in your head of the things that are going wrong in your life that aren't perfect, and it makes your world really closed. And what I wanted to do is expand the things that I do and the impact I have in the external world and see if it makes me happier. And it has. And it brings me lots of joy. It's all about getting out of your mind and into your life, which I think is a really great way. And it's something I want to pass on to my family and my child as she grows up, of being like, the way you start feeling better, or at least for me, the way I start feeling better, is by being more active and being more present. And it can just help me distract from any conflicts I'm experiencing internally. So, what kind of stuff have I got involved with? So, I've done webinars for women in my industry for the last 5 years or so. So, quite a long time. since I was 25. And some of them have been about career development, some have been about personal resilience, motherhood. And it's always for me really important to speak to other people about my experiences and let others educate me about their lives. I hate feeling like I'm really close minded, like I'm living my soul experience and not giving myself the opportunity to hear about what's going on in other people's lives. The best way to learn is by speaking to people, hearing about their experiences and working out, you know, could I have got through that experience in the same way? Could I have learnt the same things? It's one of those things where you don't have to repeat the same mistakes as other people. You can listen to others and learn and grow. So my favourite webinars that I did the last 6 months have been, I ran some sessions about how to make content that's really engaging. So delivering more engaging sessions in life, in person, so in life and in real life, sorry, and virtually. And I want to bring that to what I'm doing here. I want this to feel really fun. I want to feel a bit cathartic for me, that I can speak about what stuff I'm doing. So you'll see that in the way that these sessions are going to come about and the way I'm going to record my videos. So I did recently do a session for a Black Engagement Network on my experience of being a working mum. And it was one of those things where this is what made me want to do my own YouTube channel. Um, I got to speak about something very personal to me, like my journey through having endometriosis, to having a child, to balancing hormonal issues at work, to being a single married parent, and I got to really share my experience. And people related really well to that. And I thought, you know, I can open myself up online. I'm a strong person. I'm not going to be really upset if people hate my content. But yeah, I just want to be someone that people can listen to online. So I've spoken on the HMS Belfast in London about crisis management. I brought information from my master's degree, which was a really interesting topic I did for my dissertation, on personality types and how that impacts your behavioural characteristics within your career, if it shapes the careers you go into, the careers you look for yourself, or the success you have in your career. So I've always found these kind of topics really interesting, and I've always really liked engaging with people about topics I want to explore myself. Um, I like to consider myself an advocate, um, for women, for minority groups, but really for people who want to live life to their fullest. I'm an ENFJ personality type, so I do apologise. I do have a bit of main character energy, but they literally term the characteristic for this as the protagonist, so you'll just have to accept that. But in reality, I consider myself to just have less of a filter than most people through living these good 30 years of my life. And I really just love talking with people. I'm not that scared of making mistakes. um, they help me grow. I'm not that scared of being disliked. I've got enough people who love me. um, but yeah, that's why I really wanted to be a person who can speak online about the stuff that's going on, whether in my personal life or professional life, and encourage others to do the same, and hopefully encourage people to communicate with me and tell me what's going on in their lives. It's the only way I'm going to find new interests and things I want to grow in. So, what's happening in my world right now? Hmm. So, outside of my work, outside of my career, outside of like having this lovely family that I've got who I care about deeply, I'm actually doing a huge DIY project in our kitchen. So, I've bought an IKEA kitchen, but because I hate spending money on people doing something I could do myself, and I love to just try new things, me and the husband have been putting this IKEA kitchen together ourselves. We're doing tiling. We've pulled tiles off the floor. We put the cupboards on. It's a really great thing to get into. It's something that isn't maybe your skill area. I'm not a very practical person, but I love the design element, and that kind of speaks to the way I want to have these videos and the way I want to engage with people and challenge people. I want people to think of activities they do in their life not as this is a horrible activity, but what elements of these activities can I find interesting. So another thing is I'm currently designing some new skirts. So my nan was a dressmaker and my mum was a fashion designer. So it's in my genes, it's in my blood. That was a jeans joke. I hope you picked that up. So I'm taking a bit of the mantle on this. I'm taking this forward, and I just want to explore something creative and niche. Same way I'm doing these YouTube videos, but it's one of those things. I want to challenge myself in an element where I can fail. The skirt might not fit, but I want to practice you know, getting over that, building up some personal resilience. And maybe that's why I've chosen to work in this industry. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Hopefully, you'll learn a bit more about me through my later YouTube videos, or just send me a message or comment on the video. But yeah, I'm going to keep exploring more about myself and hopefully connecting with people. And if there's anyone that wants to talk about any topics, and maybe you're a woman in the industry, or you're just a person interested in getting to know others and challenging yourself, I like talking about anything. I can talk about anything. I've been told all the time by my husband. But yeah, hopefully we're going to keep connecting with each other. So thanks for dialing in. Thanks for joining me. Um, I hope we're going to see more of each other. Cheers. So you've made it to the end of the video. Oh, how exciting. Thanks again for dialing in and joining me on this little exploration journey. I've had fun, of course. That's the whole point. Hopefully you have too. So drop a comment below or send me a message, and do connect with me on my socials. I'm doing a lot on LinkedIn all the time. So send me a message. All my socials are in the description below. But thanks for dialing in. Cheers.